Hey everyone, it's Mike and it's time for a new unboxing. Today we have Panzer's Last Stand, fresh off the presses from Multi-Man Publishing. This is the latest and, I believe, fourth entry in the Battalion Combat Series. So, this one is set in 1945, January to I think maybe March or April. And it covers the fighting around Budapest, the last major Axis offensive to relieve the siege around Budapest. So, let's take a look. First, the credits. Obviously, Multi-Man Publishing. Game designer, Carl Fung. Series and game developer, Dean Essig. So let's take a quick look at the back of the box. Alright, so pretty standard fare, map sample, a blurb about the game, kind of letting you know the situation, a list of components, complexity and solitaire suitability. This scores both as medium, and scenarios. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 scenarios. But of them, I think only one uses all 4 maps, the full campaign game. The rest are 2 maps or fewer, which is nice. So those that are pressed for table space will be able to get some of the smaller scenarios out. So you don't necessarily have to go to Vassal. And there's no argument from me that Multi-Man in particular typically has some of the best value in your packages for wargaming. I mean, every time I get an OCS game or well, I would say OCS or Great Campaigns of the American Civil War, they're typically full of scenarios. Tons and tons of scenarios. So this is no exception. So let's take a look. I'll tear off the shrink and then we'll start going through the components here. Alright, so now before I open the box here, just a little bit about the Battalion Combat Series. This is the 4th title. The first was Last Blitzkrieg, and then there was a Kasserine game, and then I think a Tobruk game. I know this game has a 2.0 rule set. I was reading a little something on Board Game Geek that was talking about how this contains version 2.0 of the Battalion Combat Series rules, which is not really so much a revision of the rules as it is a revamping of the rulebook layout. So it was a really long post, so I couldn't tell you detail for detail, but I know that a lot of the stuff that was buried, that there were important definitions that were buried in the glossary that a lot of people tended to skim over to get to the rules, so they changed the layout, edited for clarity, so I think that will be good. Definitely a proponent of easier rules. So let's take a look. Alright, so we have our content sheet, and we have 1 box and lid, 4 maps, 6 counter sheets, Series 2.0 rulebook, Panzer Last Stand specific rulebook, 2.0 charts and tables, Axis booklets, 3-player aid cards, and then an addenda sheet and 2 6-sided dice. Thank you for your purchase. Folks, Multi-Man, thank you for the games. So, here we have, I guess, Multi-Man Standard. Alright. So here is the Panzer's Last Stand specific rules. Alright. So we have rules for activations, Soviet surprise offensives, Axis special rules, Soviet special rules, scenario instructions. So, quite a few pages, a lot of pages here. And then we have about 10 to 14 pages of scenario notes. Next up, we have the 2.0 series rulebook, and this is in color, which is very nice. So this clocks in at about 39 pages. Nice full color examples, highlighted sections, examples of play. Very interesting. Okay, here's the Soviet activation display. And I think this is where I've seen some of these for some of the earlier entries where they were tracking formations. So I'm wondering if this is similar. Not 100% on that. Here we have our first counter sheet, and I see Germans. And you have these units with the X's printed on them. I think these are movement restricted units that surround Budapest. I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. Yeah, we have a couple of Panzer formations, a couple of SS formations. Alright, we have a map. I'm going to set the maps aside for now. Due to table space restrictions and filming restrictions, I'll probably only look at one map instead of getting out all four. Here we have 2.0 charts and tables. So again, very nice, full color. Alright, more Germans. And our first set of Soviets. So let's look at the Soviets. So we have Tank Corps, Mech Corps. That is a lot of formation activations. Soviet player book. I think I remember reading that Soviets have some special rules for activation. This is their first appearance in the Battalion Combat Series, and I would imagine that some of the formation activation restrictions would probably have something to do, this is my uneducated guess, it probably has something to do with the way that Soviet formations were commanded historically. So Battalion Combat Series markers, so artillery, step losses, prepared defense markers, fatigue markers, objective markers. Second copy of the charts and tables. Series support book. So I think maybe this is like examples of play. Yeah, examples of play, explanations. So this will be handy. You'll definitely want to read this before you start playing, before I start playing anyway. Here's a Axis activation display, very similar to the Soviet one. Here we have more Soviets. So, oodles and oodles of Soviets. Okay. There's another map. More bulge for your Blitzkrieg. A set of add-on units for last Blitzkrieg. A new scenario that extends the campaign game into 1945. So cool. Nice little bonus for owners of last Blitzkrieg. And here we have even more Soviets. more Soviets, could you believe? A couple more Germans, but mostly Soviets. Hopefully you are able to believe. Axis player book. Okay. Another set of BCS counters. Turn record check. And that takes us to the end of the box. So let's set that out of the side for a moment. Alright. So due to space restrictions, I can't really get this all unfolded out and show it to you in a way where you can see any detail. So we're just going to look at this quarter sample of it. I know that's probably a little disappointing, and I'm sorry. But you can see that this is kind of, well, I don't want to say it's a MMP standard. A lot of their for the Gamer Series BCS, OCS, a lot of the terrain features look very similar, which makes it very easy to kind of plug in and play. So you can play the game and not play the system, as the expression goes. So you can see roads, and this will probably be tracks, different levels of hills, elevation, things like that. This is map A, so probably the northwestmost corner. Let's take a look at another section here. So here we have D and the southeast corner. Yeah. So, very nice, very well done, very clear and easy to understand. And one thing I always like about these maps is that they're not cluttered with hex IDs for every single hex. They do this thing where they skip every 5 hexes. So the map can be a map and not a grid. So, all right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this all back together and give you some final thoughts and wrap up the video. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that look at Panzer's Last Stand, the latest from Multiman Publishing. I think that it dovetails nicely with, I think it was last year's or the year before's Hungarian Rhapsody, the OCS entry. So, it's a nice companion piece. It's obviously a step down in complexity from OCS, but a lot of systems are. But I am looking forward to giving this system a shot and learning it. So, thank you for watching. I hope you have an awesome day and happy gaming. Take care.